everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of my podcast, Anastasia Scouting Report. If you're brand new, I always do timestamps so you can go to whatever section is pertinent to you. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, then I'm going to have like some stats and just some visual stuff as well. But let's get started this week, okay? This one's coming out a little early for you, but let's talk about UConn going up against Creighton, okay? So UConn ultimately ends up getting the dub 94-44. And so we're looking at the advanced stats for this one. So AZ Fudge, she played 28 minutes, had 19 points for you, 8 for 13 shooting, 3 of 4 from the 3, no free throw. She had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnover, 2 steal, and 1 block, okay? AZ doing her thing, I'm glad that, like I said, she's utilizing more so that mid-range pull-up, okay? So we saw that, and her having 3 threes in this game, very pleasing to me, and no turnovers, okay? And just the defense, too. I believe she had, like, 2 steals that turned into layups for her in transition, so just some really good stuff there with her facilitating that AZ K9 connection, just something that's so pleasing to me. So AZ doing her thing, I know I'm very fond of AZ Bud, okay? Then we go on to Baby Goat Sarah Strong. So she played 19 minutes, 16 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from the 3, 4 of 4 free throw. She had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnover, no steal, and 1 block. Good to see Sarah back. Good to see Sarah back doing her thing. Her ability to score at all 3 levels, her ability to defend, and just a great player to watch. So I'm really glad that she was back because she did miss the last game and everything because there was like some tightness and stuff, and she wasn't feeling well. But glad she's back. We go on to Sarah Williams. 19 minutes played. She had 4 points, 2 for 3 shooting, no threes, no free throws, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, okay? So this was not her best game. You know, I'll put it that way. I'm moving on to Ashton Shea, okay? So she played 30 minutes, had 13 points for you, 5 for 8 shooting, 3 of 4 from the 3, no free throw, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 3 steal, and no block, okay? Ashton Shea did not attempt any shots until the 3rd quarter, so that is a note to have. And also, I was frustrated by her because she had some bad turnovers. I believe there was one where she stepped out of bounds and one where she threw it right to the other team. So just being frustrated with that. Y'all know how I feel about Ashton Shea and the PR that she gets from some people. I don't understand that, okay? And then we go on to KK Arnold, okay? So she played 26 minutes, had 3 points, 0 for 6 shooting, 0 for 4 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws. She had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, okay? And she had 2 steals and no block. Overall takeaway on KK, she just did not play well in this game, straight up, okay? I just was not pleased by her performance. And one of my mutuals tweeted this, and I would agree, but they basically were like, when is Gino going to realize that K9 is his best point guard? And trust me, I will get there. But KK was just bad in this game, okay? Turning the ball over. I thought she was taking some really bad shots. She attempted 4 threes in this game. Like I said, I would be more comfortable with her attempting like 2 a game and just taking some bad shots. She was trying to get herself to the free throw line too, and she was able to capitalize a little bit after the free throw line too. And you know what she's going to give defense, but offensively, like I said before, KK Arnold is not a point guard. Gino keeps trying to fit her into this role, and we consistently play better whenever she's not in the game or she's not on the basketball, okay, and somebody else is facilitating like AZ or like K9. So it was just bad. And every single time that we have critiques about KK, then people act like we're doing too much. This is about basketball. It's nothing about these players as people. I really try to keep it solely hoops on my channel, my podcast, my accounts, and everything like that. But it is what it is. She's not a point guard. So this was probably the worst performance she's had this year. It's reminding me of Ohio State when she had 0 points, and this wasn't even a big game. And so I don't know. I feel like come March, Gino really needs to get serious and have some honest conversations. He keeps waiting for her to figure it out. I don't think she's going to figure it out. I'll go on to the bench. Gianna had no points, so not much to talk about. Jana, she had 2 points, 1 for 2 shooting, no threes, no free throw, 5 rebound, 1 assist, no turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, and she played 16 minutes. I thought Jana had some good stuff. You know, our rebounding leaves a lot to be desired, but I thought she was staring down some good rebounds for you, so I appreciated that, okay? And so I will say that, and I said this in my review, that he's kind of shafting Jana with the minutes because whenever we're getting to March Madness, if we were to match up with UCLA again, we know that Jana did a really good job on her last year. She got in foul trouble and Ice Brady was on her. And like I said, I believe in the first episode, if Ice Brady's guarding you, just add the points onto the board because Lord. And so she did some good stuff with that though. So I just feel like if something happens and Jana's, you know, put in that spot, I just feel like he's not putting her in a position for success because she hasn't gotten the reps needed with the starters and everything. I think just the kind of physicality that she plays with in the post, it really favors her in certain matchups when we're looking at stuff like against Lauren Betts, for example, that, you know, Sarah Williams, it's just a different kind of physicality that I feel like Jana's used to playing with and everything. I always appreciate her snaring down the rebounds. She has to defend without fouling. That's been a problem for sure. But overall, I think that he needs to really ramp up her minutes. I feel like he's been playing with her minutes all season. Now, one game when she started, she only played 18 minutes. So that's my takeaways. Khalees, 5 minutes, 4 points. Okay, so there's that. K9, she played 27 minutes, had 13 points for you, 6 for 10 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 0-1 from the free throw line. She had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, 4 steals, and 1 block, okay? And this kind of goes back off the KK point that I was having, but like I've been saying, K9 needs to start, okay? In the beginning of the season, the preseason, she looked real good. There was that slump she had, and I said this in my review too, but part of the reason for that is also he kind of started playing with her minutes, because she used to play like 20 minutes a game, and then he just really only started playing her in like garbage time and just really messed up the flow of everything. So you have to like re-engage chemistry with everyone. And I feel like she's slowly getting there. She's slowly getting there. Like if you think about the Tennessee game that I talked about last week, when she hit those 2 layups in transition and just being able to read the defense, being able to make the smart play, whether that's taking that for yourself or whether that's getting that out to your shooter, right? And she does that. She's always looking for AZ, and she can just play well with anyone. She's kind of one of those plug-and-play players for us, and I think that she's been really positive in playing the point guard position, okay? The basketball IQ that she has, the kind of passes that she can make and everything, I think that it's just obvious again. So I really think that Gino has to stop playing and that he really needs to start her. And I've been saying this. If y'all followed my TikTok account where I did my reviews, if y'all see my podcast before any of the episodes, I've been pretty consistent with it, and so I really liked what she was doing, okay? Like I said, the connection with her and AZ is just so good. And then Isabel, 25 minutes, 20 points, 7 for 10 shooting, 5 of 8 from the 3. 1-on-1 free throw. She had 2 rebounds, no assists, 2 turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, okay? So I don't know how much of this was in garbage time. And full disclaimer, for this specific game, I did not watch the fourth quarter. Usually I had the fourth quarter on kind of in the back. And the reason why I didn't was because the Unrivaled 1v1 tournament was going on the first round. And so I was trying to get to Paige, okay? And making sure that I could switch that over to my TV and see it in real time. And so once we were getting to that point, luckily it coincided well to where I could switch over to that. And so y'all know I don't take the fourth quarter seriously, because that's when people go and they stat pad, and people take that seriously, and like they contributed a lot more in the first 3 quarters when the game was being decided than they actually did. So you know, I don't take that seriously. So I did not really watch the fourth quarter, to be honest, and so I don't know how much of that was in garbage time, okay? And so another point on Khalees I forgot to say is people are saying this about how Khalees is getting shafted. Because like I said, not playing at least at the start of the fourth quarter when the game's being decided. Like, I don't know why KK was playing in garbage time. I really don't. And so I didn't agree with that. Khalees should have some more time. You know, if you don't get to play, how are you going to improve? You know? Creighton, I'll put the stats up on the screen. Not much really to talk about for that side. Okay, and then we go to scoring by quarter. Okay, first quarter was going to be 14-19. Second quarter, 10-23. Third quarter, 7-26. And the fourth quarter, 13-26. Ultimately, UConn wins 94-44. Now I look at the leaders for points, rebounds, and assists. Isabel leading the way with 20. Ashton Shade had 5 rebounds. AZ had 4 assists, no turnovers. Creighton, Gentry with 12 points. Lord, Heathcock with 8 rebounds. And Zedker, I believe, with 2 assists. And now we take a look at some more of the advanced stats. So UConn from the field was 36 of 63 in this one, which is going to be 57%. 14 of 26 from the three-point line, which is really good for us, which is going to be 54%. 8 of 10 from the free throw line, which is good, 80%. 37 total rebounds. We need to get more. 3 offensive rebounds and 34 defensive rebounds. We got killed on offensive rebounds. I mean, they got 8 more offensive rebounds than us, okay? And so 20 assists in this one, 14 steal, 6 block, 10 turnover, which is about on par for us, I believe. 27 points off of turnovers, 26 fast breaker transition points, 36 points in the paint, 5 foul, no tech. Largest lead was 50 and percent led was 90. And then Creighton was 14 of 62 from the field, Lord. And so that's going to be 23%, 10 of 38 from the three-point line, 26%, 6 of 6 free throw, which is going to be 100%, 36 total rebounds, 11 offensive and 25 defensive, 8 assists, 5 steal, 1 block, 22 total turnover, 11 points off of turnovers, 9 fast breaker transition points, 6 points in the paint, 9 foul, no tech. Largest lead was 2 and percent led was 7. Okay, so some overall takeaways on this game. This was one of the worst games I've seen UConn play. And like I said, to me, it's not about the score necessarily. It's how you play to get to the score. Whenever you're playing the subpar competition, how are you showing up? What are the tendencies that you're having? What are the bad habits that we're seeing? Because the bad habits always translate to the bigger games. I don't care what anybody says. I watch multiple different teams. Y'all know I watch UConn, Texas, LSU, South Carolina, like all these teams. If you have bad habits that you're practicing consistently in these games, when you get to the big games, it translates over because that's what you're practicing, right? And so, yeah, I just thought that UConn didn't play well. You know, in the first quarter, it was awful. Like, the offense, it was stagnant. We were taking a lot of bad shots. KK first shot of the game, and I said this in my review too, but when you see who takes the first shot of the game, that pretty much always determines how the game is going to go. I swear, bro. The first Creighton game I didn't like. The St. John's game, both Seton Hall games and everything, 9 times out of 10, the person who takes the first shot, I feel like it kind of sets a tempo for the game in a way. So when I saw KK first shot, I just already knew I was going to be irritated with that. Okay, so that's one. And just offense looking stagnant, and it was bad. It was bad. Okay, the turnovers, I think we only had like 3 or something like that, but still, we looked bad, basically. We were giving up a lot on defense, so I wasn't pleased. Somewhere, I believe, in the second quarter, we finally started to play seriously, got the offense more organized, right? And then started to get out in transition, do what we needed to do with defense. But yeah, I wasn't pleased with that. Okay, like I said, the rebounding effort, I'm not pleased with that. And you would think the offense would look better by now at this stage. Also, I felt like Gino had bad rotation. That small lineup, he has to give it to God. The small lineup is not working out. We don't have the personnel for a successful small lineup. I'm tired of all these lineups with Ali Zabel and Ashlyn Shade and acting like they're getting us somewhere, because objectively, they're not if you actually watch the games. Okay, so I wasn't pleased by that. So that's something there. So that's something there, right? And I just feel like, again, Gino has to get serious, because the Big East tournament is coming up, and then the tournament's coming up. Like, let's get those rotations locked in. Let's do something different. He's only changed the lineup due to injury. And it's just unfair, because in his gut, like in the Tennessee game, for example, whenever KK wasn't playing well, Ashton wasn't playing well, you see how the offense completely got better when he benched them, and then you had like AZ running the point, for example. So instead of getting us in those positions where we have to dig ourselves out of it, okay, then why just not put us in that position? He keeps thinking it's going to get better with the starting lineup, and it's not. All season, the starting lineup does not have chemistry, okay? And no Blanca, I think that it's also kind of showing and everything. I think Blanca would have been helpful, but on the bench, I think K9 is giving you good production now. She's figured it out. Blanca, she'll give us good production when she comes back. And then you also have Jana. And Jana, basically, he said that her role is not to be scoring. Like, that's what he said, right? And so you're just looking, we're not getting a whole lot from a lot of the bench pieces. Like, Ali Zabel is inconsistent, all that other stuff. So he just has to be better with his rotations and stuff. We see the same stuff every game. Go with your gut, and don't put us in these positions that we have to dig ourselves out of, okay? You do that, it's going to cost us. Go with your gut and just stop doing all that stuff with the rotations. And just the way we looked in that game was unacceptable. I was very irritated. So, that's my takeaways with UConn. They've only played 1 game since I did my last podcast and everything. And so when I'm posting this, hopefully I can get this out on Saturday before the next game. But that's where UConn stands right now with me, okay? Some stuff we have to figure out. Next up, let's talk about Texas taking on Vanderbilt, okay? So Vanderbilt ultimately ends up winning, and that's going to be 86-70. So there's that. And I said this was an upset on social, and people told me that it wasn't an upset. To me, it is, because Texas was number 4 and Vanderbilt was number 5. So I don't know how that's not an upset, and Texas seemed to be the better program this year. So to me, that's an upset. But yeah, Vanderbilt wins 86-70. And so we're taking a look at the stats here. Let's start off with Madison Booker. So she played 40 minutes, had 20 points, 9 for 20 shooting, 0 of 2 from the 3, 2 of 3 free throw, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnover, 3 steal, and no block, okay? Madison Booker frustrated me in this game, okay? If you see enough Madison Booker games, especially in big moments, she always chokes. She's a choke artist. I've said it before. Other people have said it, and it is what it is. Every time it gets to a big game, for the most part, she doesn't deliver, okay? And I thought maybe she was getting away from that, because I think against LSU, she had like a 20 ball and some other stuff. It wasn't efficient, but she was still at least getting you 20 points and whatever. So I thought maybe she was getting away from that. But we have another moment like this. We have another moment like that. And that Kentucky game was not good either. She did not play well in that game. I believe she was 1 of 6 from the field in that game, okay? So it's just a similar thing. And Madison Booker did not start doing anything until the 4th quarter of this game. If you watch the game, I think she only had like 10 points beforehand. And then the 4th quarter, she stat padded. And Vic let her stat pad, So I just wasn't moved. You waited till the 4th quarter to actually do something. And she was taking some ill-advised shots. She took 2 threes. That one in transition was inappropriate. Like, get to the rim on that one. So I didn't like that. And then the other one also did not go well. So there was that. She got 2 offensive fouls in the 4th quarter back to back. Those were back-breaking for me. Those were literally back-breaking for me, okay? And so just like not being pleased with that, some of the decision-making on defense, like she's a small forward, so that means 3 and D. Her threes this year have been terrible, and the defense, she got cooked by Aubrey Galvin. Aubrey Galvin literally had her on skates, and she fell over and stuff. And you're a 3, but you never defend 3. She defends 1s and she defends 2s if you actually watch these games. So yeah, you guys know I like Madison Booker's game. Obviously I've said that before, that she's a good player. But also, like I said before, if you cannot show up when it matters most, then what does that say about you? Okay? When your number is called, you have to show up. And Madison Booker has not shown me that she can give me a 30 ball in a meaningful game against good competition. It's always a choke job every single time. And when she doesn't play well, Vic does not bench her. Okay? So just being frustrated by how everything presented itself in this game. She had some good stuff that she did do, but it just too little too late in my opinion. It's just some of the back-breaking mistakes she had. So, that's my verdict right there on Madison Booker for this game. And like I said, Kentucky, it wasn't good either. And then Let's talk about Jordan Lee next. So she played 16 minutes, 11 points, 4 for 8 shooting, and 2 of 3 from the 3, 1 of 2 free throws. She had 2 rebounds, no assists, no turnover, 1 steal, and no block. Okay, one of Jordan Lee's better games, one of her more efficient games. She still took some bad shots, but it was one of her better games. If anything, she should add more touches actually, because it was the first time she's had a good game in a while, honestly. And then Rory Harmon, 18 minutes played. She had 5 points, 2 for 5 shooting, no threes, 1 of 1 free throw, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay. So I think Rory was able to put some good stuff in this game. You know, I felt she didn't play enough when she only played 18 minutes, okay? And I'm so tired of Vic Schaefer making Rory the scapegoat when the team doesn't play well, okay? If you watch the first LSU game, he benched her in the fourth quarter, and they still lost, okay? And the same thing, and they still lost. Like, why is he making Rory the scapegoat for when things don't go well, when the entire team, both games, did not play well, okay? She had a bad turnover, and then he benched her. But Madison Booker gets to brick into oblivion and make multiple mistakes on both sides of the ball, and he never benches Madison Booker. Okay? And there's multiple times when he should have done that. But Rory has to be the scapegoat when a team's not playing well, you know? And in his press conference, he got asked about why he benched Rory, and he got mad talking about it's a substitution. And what world is a substitution lasting the entire half? And what world does someone not play the entire second half of a game and that's not them being benched? He got all mad, but you literally benched her twice, and the game was lost both times. Even if Rory doesn't shoot the ball particularly well, she's still very valuable to this Texas team as a facilitator of the basketball and also what she can bring for you on defense as well. So I just thought it was blasphemous that he has benched her in a game yet again, and that, you know, she's taking the heat for that, because I don't feel like it's her fault. Okay? She's done a lot of positive things. We saw the second LSU game, even though she shot the ball terribly, it was 3 of 14, 4 of 14, she still was extremely positive on the defensive end, okay? She locked up Michaela Williams, and she was a huge reason why Texas won that game. So Vic is just irritating me. I don't know what his beef is with her. I don't know what his problem is with her, but I've been saying since that first LSU game, he's played with her minutes, and I don't like it. I don't like her. It's not her fault, okay? And you saw that y'all still lost the game anyways. And so I get repetitive, but Vic, oh, he irritated me so bad with that. Like, you don't do that to her. Do not do that to her, okay? Justice Carlton, 7 minutes, no points, 0-2 shooting, no threes, no free throw. She had 1 rebound, 1 assist, no turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay, so not her finest hour, okay? In the Kentucky game, she actually played pretty well. I believe she was the leading scorer, so I'll give her credit for that one. Bria Cunningham, 15 minutes played, 14 points, 7 for 11 shooting, no threes, no free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. Okay, did her thing in this one. You know, Vanderbilt, they got her to foul out, so I'll give them their credit for that, but yeah. And then we go on to the bench. Sidbury gave you 2 points, 1 for 6 shooting. Good God, 23 minutes, 0-1 from the 3, no free throws, 7 rebound though, 1 assist, 2 turnover, 2 steal, and 1 block. Had some other ways to make contributions, but I mean, 1 of 6 is just rough, okay? And then Oldacre, 25 minutes, 4 points, 2 for 6 shooting, no threes, no free throws. She had 3 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, okay? So not her best, you know, not her best. I will say that. We go on to Aaliyah Crump, 24 minutes played. She had 7 points, 2 of 11 shooting, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line, 2 of 2 free throws, 2 rebound, no assist, no turnover, 1 steal, and no block, okay? And so I thought that she just didn't play well in this game. You know, shots that normally went down for her, they just did not go down for her, so it just wasn't her finest hour, okay? Preston, 22 minutes played, 5 points, 2 for 6 shooting, and 0 3-pointers attempted in this game. And then she had 1 of 1 free throw, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. I'll give her credit for the 7 assists, but she does not like ball pressure. They pressured her multiple times, and she coughed it up, and just some bad decision making by her in the game. So I don't know. I like Rory better as the point guard for this team, as I said before. Judd, 10 minutes, she had 2 points, 1 for 3 shooting, 0-2 from the 3, no free throw, 4 rebound, no assist, no turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay, so I wasn't pleased by her minutes. We go into Vanderbilt in this game. So Michaela Blake, she played 40 minutes, gave you 34 points, 9 for 19 shooting, 3 of 6 from the 3, 13 of 15 free throws, Lord, 4 rebound, 3 assists, 5 turnovers, and then she had no steal and no block. Overall, I thought that Michaela Blakes did her thing in this one. You know that Michaela Blakes is not going to be efficient. She's going to shoot the ball, and it is what it is, okay? And so she had some good shots in this game, and I felt like, where was the defense on her, okay? And hitting multiple threes for you, getting to the rim. She had some wide open mid-ranges. I don't know what happened defensively, but they completely failed the defensive assignment, because at the very least, you need to double team her and make sure that she's taking difficult shots. And so she did a big one. And she's someone who's willing to put her body on the line. She'll take a charge for you. She'll drive to the rim and draw the contact so she can get herself to the free throw line. And, you know, she's just someone who's very even-keeled. So she really did her thing. She really did her thing in this one, okay? And, you know, she got a lot of calls. This was a home game, and so she just did exactly what was needed to do to win. You understand that if Vanderbilt's going to win these games, she has to have a bigger performance, and, you know, she's delivered, okay? And then we go on to Sasha Washington, 23 minutes played, 10 points, 4 for 9 shooting. She had no threes, 2 free throw, 9 rebound, 2 assists, 3 turnover, no steal, and 1 block. Okay, she had some good stuff in this one for sure. One of her better games. We go on to Galvin, 40 minutes played, 18 points, 7 for 13 shooting, 2 of 4 from the 3, 2 free throw, 8 rebound, 5 assists, 4 turnover, 1 steal, and no block. Okay, the 4 turnovers is really backbreaking for me. It is. Y'all know I hate turnovers, so that's one. But I felt like Galvin did a really good job in this game. Okay, she was hitting some tough shots. There was one, I don't even know how she got that to go in, and just doing what she needed to do. And I think I said this whenever they played Ole Miss or something like that, but I was saying that I wanted to see more of a contribution from Aubrey Galvin offensively, because we know the heavy load that Michaela Blakes has to carry every single game. And so, you know, you just needed more from Galvin, right? And I believe before this, she had like a 30-piece or something, right? And so she did a big one. She did a big one with that, being able to facilitate. I hate the turnover, but she was efficient. I think she played well. We go on to Jackalinga, I believe is her name, number 15. 39 minutes played. She had 11 points, 4 for 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 2 of 4 free throws, 6 rebound. She had no assists, 2 turnover, 4 steal, and no block. Okay, so I thought that she did some good stuff in this one. Okay, probably one of the better games I've seen her play too. And then Passat, 30 minutes played, 9 points, 3 for 6 shooting, 3 from 6 from the 3. She had no free throw, 4 rebound, no assist, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay, so, you know, she did her part. She did her part. She didn't try to do too much, okay? Because sometimes she'd be irritating with the shot selection. The bench, you got 2 points from Makarat and you got 2 points from Mitchell. So not much from the bench, okay? And then we'll look at scoring by quarter. So 15 to 27, 15 to 20, 22 to 23, and then 18 to 16. Ultimately, Vanderbilt wins this one 86 to 70, okay? And then you see the leaders for points, rebounds, and assists. Madison Booker, 20 points. Okay, you had Madison Booker with 8 rebounds, and Preston with 7 assists, 2 turnover. Michaela Blake's leading the way for Vanderbilt. She had 34 points. Sasha Washington with 9 rebounds, and Galvin with 5 assists and 4 turnovers. And then we continue on. So Texas was 30 of 78 from the field, 38%. 3 of 15 from the 3, 20%. And so free throw line, 7 to 9, 78%. 37 total rebound. You had 18 offensive, 19 defensive. You had 16 assists, 10 steals, 2 blocks, 12 total turnovers, which is still too many. 13 points off of turnovers. You had 12 fast breaker transition points, 36 points in the paint, 21 foul. No tech, largely was 3, and percent led was 5. For Vanderbilt, 28 of 55 from the field, 51%. 9 of 19 from the 3, which is going to be 47%. 21 of 25 from the free throw line, which is going to be 84%. 40 total rebound. You had 9 offensive and 31 defensive. So they got out rebounded. 12 assists, 5 steal, 3 blocks, 17 total turnover, 15 points off of turnovers. You had 10 fast breaker transition points, 32 points in the paint, 13 foul, no tech. Largest lead was going to be 26, and percent led was going to be 91. Okay. Overall takeaways on this game for me, Shea Ralph is coach of the year, okay? She understands that she's working with a lesser roster on paper, so she really has to hone in on the fundamentals and her scheme as well, and just making sure that she can get the most out of the roster that she does have, okay? And in this game, I felt she outcoached Vic Shaver. She understood what to do, how to stop these players, and it was just a lot of team basketball. You saw a lot of good things in the way that Vanderbilt was able to share the basketball in this game and just making the right plays and really good defensive pressure on Texas too. So I thought that Shea Ralph really understood the assignments, okay? And she is a UConn disciple. She went to UConn, she coached there too, so she just knew exactly what had to be done, and she just made sure that the players played their best. So I had to say that. And so I lost a lot of respect for Vic Shaver in this game. Already mentioned the benching of Rory and how he's not consistent because he's talking about accountability in the press conference, but you never bench Madison Booker when she's played terribly in multiple games. So I'm irritated by that. And he literally said in the press conference too that he has to take some accountability and there are certain standards and that this is a soft team. I don't know. And that he's going to wear some of it. Like, part of it's on the team for playing, but part of it is on the coach. So, I don't know. I kind of would have liked if you would have taken a little bit more accountability because you also put yourself in this position with his bad rotations that he had in this game. Multiple times he made mistakes in this one. And even Aaliyah Crump in the Kentucky game didn't play much. I don't know. He really irritated me with that. He really irritated me with that because it's just a bunch of lip service to me. You know, you have to be consistent with that, what you're actually saying. But it's not accountability for all for Vic Shaver, and that's what I don't like. And then, like I said, offensively, it was a mess. Defensively, they did a terrible job on Michaela Blakes. I don't know where the defense was, like I said. And I didn't expect it to look this bad, you know, in this game. Like I said, with Kentucky, it was terrible. And I've had other times it looked terrible. and they were somehow able to get over the hump with that. I think usually because they start off well and they kind of choke at the end, and then they usually get it together, you know, and find a way to win, like Ole Miss and stuff. And I think they trolled against South Dakota State in the beginning, but they got it together. But, you know, they just couldn't dig themselves out of it. Okay, they cut it down to what, like 11, something like that in the third or the fourth quarter, but just couldn't do enough to get over the top. You know, every time they did that, they just made a lot of mistakes. And so I got to give Vanderbilt credit for battling, and I just thought that they played hard in this game. They wanted it more, and they were able to execute. And a sad thing in this one is, like I said, even though they had more turnovers with Vanderbilt, Texas was not able to capitalize off of that. So they just did not play well in this game, like I said. And like I said, I think that Galvin and Washington were big for this one. You're going to need other contributions from players that are not named Michaela Blakes. And so yeah, this game, it was a hard watch for me because y'all know I like Texas a lot. This is my second favorite team in women's college basketball. But they didn't show up. They weren't ready to play. And they didn't execute. So I don't want to hear any excuses about traveling and anything else. The players didn't do what they needed to do. And then there's also a responsibility that's on Vic Schaefer as well. So yeah, you know, that's kind of how I view that game. And so next up, let's talk about South Carolina taking on Tennessee. So ultimately, South Carolina wins this one, 93-50, okay? So I believe this is Tennessee's worst loss in years or something like that. So let's talk about the stats for this one, starting off with South Carolina, okay? So Joyce Edwards, 30 minutes played, 20 points, 7 for 10 shooting, no threes, 6 to 9 free throw, 8 rebound, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, 2 steal, and no block, okay? So she put together a good game for herself in this one. Sometimes you watch Joyce in the games overall, and sometimes it's kind of like she's like a step behind or whatever, or like she messes up, you know what I'm saying, in the big games that I've seen this year at least. But, you know, she delivered in this one. You know, had some nice moments with the assists and stuff, limiting the turnovers, good stuff on both sides. So I think Joyce had a good game. And then Medina Okot, 25 minutes, 10 points, 4 for 5 shooting, no threes, 2 of 2 free throws. She had 16 rebounds, okay, which is huge. 1 assist, 4 turnover, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. So did her thing on both sides. I hate the turnover, but yeah. Tessa Johnson, 30 minutes played, 14 points, 4 for 4 shooting, 2 of 2 from the 3, 4 for free throws. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block, okay. Tessa, I thought she would have taken more shots in this game. It's really surprising that she only took 4 shots, okay? She did hit 2 threes for you. Like I said, she's their 3-point specialist, an underrated, you know, player for sure for this South Carolina team. The defense was awful this game, and it's awful every game. So she is a lock-in on that. But otherwise, you guys know I like Tessa Johnson. And then Tanai Latson, 30 minutes played, 21 points, 9 for 15 shooting, 0-2 from the 3-point line, 3 of 4 free throws. She had 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnover, 4 steals, okay, and no blocks. So I thought she had a good one. Okay? Like, she's going to make something happen for herself. She likes to take it to the cup, getting some steals, scoring in transition in that way, and just finding a way to be impactful on both sides. So I thought she had a really good game. And then we see Raven Johnson, 37 minutes, 13 points, 6 for 11 shooting, 0-2 from the 3, 1-1 free throw, 1 rebound. She had 7 assists, but 5 turnovers. You can't be careless with the ball like that. It just gets to a point. There was one where she got it and then she lost the handle and then she turned it over. I was like, oh my god. And then she had 2 steals and no blocks. So for the most part, did her thing, scored when she needed to, didn't try to do too much, and then she likes to facilitate and play defense. So that's her role, you know? Okay, so whenever I recorded this, I forgot to talk about the bench, so I apologize and I wanted to rectify that. But Tornabees gave you 19 minutes played, 8 points, 3 for 3 shooting, 2 of 2 from the 3, no free throw, 2 rebound, no assist, 2 turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, okay? So I thought she did some nice stuff in this game, you know, on both sides of the ball, hitting some wide open shots for you. First time I saw her play, she was traveling a lot. I think she had some offensive fouls too, and, you know, that's to be expected, you know. Just trying to get accustomed to the rules here, but I thought she did some good stuff in this one. I thought she's improved. Miriam Dowda gave you 5 minutes and 1 rebound, so not much to talk about. And then McDowell, 24 minutes played, 7 points, 3 for 4 shooting, 1 of 2 from the 3, no free throw, 2 rebound, no assist, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. So, I mean, it's decent. It's decent, you know, so I will say that. But that's some of my thoughts on the bench in this game. We go into Tennessee, and so, you know, Latham, 15 minutes, 2 points, 1 of 1 shooting, no threes, no free throw, 2 rebound, no assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. So not great. Spearman, 27 minutes. She had 3 points, 1 for 4 shooting, 1 of 2 from the 3, no free throw, 3 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and no block. Okay. Janiyah Barker, 30 minutes played. She had 10 points, 4 of 13 shooting, 0-3 from the 3, 2 of 2 free throw, and 6 rebound, no assists, 4 turnovers though, okay? And she had no steal and no block, so just not efficient. Pauldo, this was bad. 24 minutes played. She had no points, 0-10 shooting, 0-9 from the 3, no free throw, 3 rebound, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and no block, okay? And then we go into Talasia Cooper, okay? So 30 minutes played, 17 points, 6 of 17 shooting, Lord. 4 of 13 from the 3, and 1 of 1 free throw, 5 rebound, 5 assists, 6 turnovers and 3 steal and no block. I like Anastasia Cooper, but it wasn't her day. And then the bench, she didn't really get a whole lot. So I'll just put all that on the screen so you can see that. Scoring by quarter: first quarter 18 to 25, second quarter 14 to 22, third quarter 9 to 24, and then fourth quarter 9 to 22. Like I said, South Carolina wins 93 to 50. And now we look at the leaders for points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, so for South Carolina, Latson led the way with 21 points. For rebounds, Okot was 16, and then for assists, Raven Johnson was 7 to 5 turnovers. And then for Tennessee, Anastasia Cooper 17 points, Janai Barker was 6 rebound, and Anastasia Cooper with 5 assists to 6 turnovers. Good God. So then we go on. So South Carolina from the field shooting in this game gave you 36 of 52. Okay, so it's going to be 69%, which is really good. 5 of 10 from the 3, 50%. 16 to 20 from the free throw line, which is going to be 80%. 39 total rebound. You had 7 offensive rebound and 32 defensive rebound. Okay. 15 assists, 10 steal, 3 block, 19 total turnover, which is way too many, okay? 17 points off of turnovers, 28 fast breaker transition points, 54 points in the paint. You had 7 fouls, no tech. Largely was 48, and percent led was going to be 89, okay? And then you look at Tennessee. So they were going to be 18 for 65 from the field, 28%, 10 to 44 from 3, 23%, 4 or 5 from the free throw line, which is going to be 80%, 24 total rebound, 13 offensive, 11 defensive, 10 assists, 8 steal, 1 block, 18 total turnover, good God, and then 10 points off of turnovers, 11 fast breaker transition points. You had 16 points in the paint, 19 foul, no tech, largely was 2, and percent led was going to be 8. Okay, my overall takeaways on this game for you, in the first quarter and a half, it was actually pretty close, okay? And so what broke the game open for South Carolina was Dawn switched over to a zone defense, okay? And that zone put them in a blender. You saw Tennessee took 44 threes in this game, which is absolutely blasphemous, okay? But yeah, they switched to a zone, had them in a blender, able to get turnovers off of that too. And Tennessee was just taking some really, really bad shots too. And then South Carolina got into a groove offensively. They were setting up a lot of really nice possessions for each other, whether that was half court, whether that was transition. They just looked really good offensively. And, you know, they started humming, okay? Like I said, the turnover is a huge problem for me. I talked about that one that Raven had. Tessa had one where she was trying to pass it. They jumped the passing lane. That was a turnover. We're passing it out of bounds. We're traveling. The turnovers by both teams, egregious. Okay, that was very careless, and you cannot turn over the basketball like that. Okay, when you play a good team, you turn the basketball over that many times, you're probably not winning. You can't turn over the ball. Okay, y'all know I hate turnovers. And so, yeah, but that zone, it definitely did something, okay? And Dawn basically said that it kind of broke her heart to switch to zone, but, you know, it's just what they needed to do, and that the team really likes playing zone, and it's not something that she wants to do a whole lot, but it's something that they have in their back pocket, okay? So I thought they did a good job executing that zone, okay? And so, you know, there's some discourse right now, guys, with the Tennessee coach, Kim Caldwell, and she basically said that the team quit on her and all that stuff, and I can see it from both sides, because a lot of people are like, why would you say that about the team? And part of the people like the team sucks. I think both things can be true at once. You know, I think Kim Caldwell can't coach. Like I said, she doesn't have a feel for the game. The rotation she saw about every like 5 minutes, and it's just bad. It's just bad, okay? And also the players, you know, making some bad decisions and everything. So I think that it can be on both sides. I am starting to agree with people that Kim Caldwell will probably be fired, okay? Because this was a big game for them, and then they lost, and then this was supposed to be important. I think like the margin of victory is something for them to be able to host at home at the NCAA tournament. Now that's in jeopardy, basically. I think that's cooked. And so I think multiple things can be true, but that second half, the players did play horribly. They were taking anything. The defense was bad too. And so, yeah. And so that's kind of my takeaways on that game, but South Carolina did their thing. And so now I want to talk a little bit previewing that matchup with South Carolina against LSU. Okay, and so on the predictor, it says LSU was predicted to win 53.7% to 46.3%. And then the leaders for the points or average per game, Flossie only averages 13.8 points a game. Good God. Joyner, 7.1 rebound. Michaela Williams, 3.8 assist. Okay. And so for South Carolina, Joyce Edwards, 20.3 points a game. Okot, 10.2 rebound. And then Raven Johnson, 5.4 assists. Okay. And so who do I think is going to win this one? I have South Carolina with the edge in this one. And why do you ask? Because they have better post players. You have Joyce Edwards, Medina Okot. Makir, she might still be out. Tornabees, I thought that she has done some good stuff for South Carolina and everything. So you could see Tornabees, you know, being impactful, you know, in some fashion maybe. But like I said, they have other good post players and everything. And so that is something that is an Achilles heel for LSU because, you know, I'm not really that moved by Kate Cobalt in the post. Like, Joyner's, like, fine. Like, they don't have that one elite post player is what I'm trying to say. And so they have 3 post players trying to make up for what one elite post player can do, you know, on both ends, offensively, defensively, with the rebounds and all that other stuff, you know. And so I think that that's definitely going to hurt them, in the post. So I think that that's huge. Also, like I said, I do think that South Carolina plays a lot better defense than LSU. I've had problems with LSU's defense before, okay? And so South Carolina breaking out that zone and the way that they executed that really impressed me, and they have better man defense. So I really think that, if they break out that zone, if they need to force them to take a lot of threes, that can be good. South Carolina can shoot well from the three. Depends on the game. In this game, they shot well from the three. I've seen them do it before. So, that's something they can have in the back pocket. LSU has the edge on guard play, but their guards are not consistent, okay? Their best guard right now is probably Michaela Williams, but we saw what happened in that Texas game when Rory locked her up and whenever Kim wasn't scheming her open and drawing enough plays for her, so that's an edge of her concern. Flage is also a choke artist in the big games this year. I think Trendy posted on Twitter, she only averages like 11 points in big matchups, and to me, that's just unacceptable. So I'm just not expecting Flage to come through. It would be nice, but I'm just not expecting it, okay? And then you also have, Jada Richard, hopefully she has a bounce back game because the game that she had against Texas, she did not play well. Okay, so you have those things in your back pocket, right? But ultimately, I don't think they're going to come through. And with South Carolina guard play, you got Tessa Johnson. And Tessa Johnson, they don't account for on the scouting report, like I said before. So I think she can do something. And Latson, I forgot about her when I talked about this preview on my TikTok account. But Latson can do something. Raven's not really that much of a scorer. She's got her scoring up, so I'll give her credit for that. But it's really Latson and Tessa that you're counting on for the guards. And so, yeah, I think that whenever you have those things in South Carolina's favor and things that can hurt LSU, I just feel like they're going to capitalize off of that, right? And I just think South Carolina is just the more disciplined team. I think that Don is the better coach. So in my opinion, I think South Carolina is going to take this matchup. We'll see what happens. Maybe the guards will show up for LSU. You're going to need at least two of them to perform well, I think, in order to win this one. And everybody else needs to chip in. But I've just seen LSU. I've seen their tendencies and stuff. That Auburn game, I was not really that pleased with it. So I just think South Carolina will be taking this one, okay? And that commercial they did for it was so funny, okay? With all the fights and all that stuff. And then, what is it called? Malaysia and the different jerseys. That was hilarious, okay? So I do have to give the media team their 10s for that one. One thing to know is that LSU has not beat South Carolina in years, okay? So I like South Carolina in this one, okay? And so, quick notes on LSU and Auburn. I wrote this down, but they blew them out like they were supposed to, but too many turnovers and mistakes on both ends for LSU. That was the gist, okay? Now I'm going on to UCLA taking on Michigan, okay? So UCLA wins this one 69-66. So extremely close. And so start off with UCLA. Lauren Betts, she played 33 minutes, gave you 16 points, 8 for 17 shooting, no threes, no free throws, 16 rebound, 5 assists, 3 turnover, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Okay, I thought Lauren Betts did some nice stuff in this game for you. She's going to be able to get to the rim and finish. Still every game missing easy shots that she should make. I always say this every single time. The rebounding, I think it was the second half where she started to get more offensive rebounds because there was a point they had no offensive rebounds. And to me, I thought it was ridiculous when you 6'7", we're not getting offensive rebounds. She wasn't getting in the post enough. They were driving her out, and then you're not in the post to get the rebound. So I wasn't pleased by that. But she did some good stuff, not her most efficient, but you understand what she's going to bring to you. And like I said, I really think she's carrying this defensive unit for UCLA. Okay, so definitely got to give Lauren Betts her credit for those things. I do think that she got away with about 2 offensive fouls in this game. There was one where she fouled somebody on the rebound, that wasn't called, and then she had another one that looked like a push-off, and that wasn't called either. So she got away with a couple offensive fouls in this game to me. And then we go into Charlize Ledger-Walker, 30 minutes, 4 points, 2 for 6 shooting, 0-2 from the 3, no free throw, 2 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. We go on to Neepkins. 28 minutes played, 12 points, 5 for 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from the 3. No free throw. She had 3 rebound, no assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block, okay? So Neepkins did some nice stuff for you in this game. Her stat line was more efficient than I thought, but somebody who's able to score at all 3 levels. The off-ball defense, I think, is good. The on-ball defense is awful, in my opinion. But, she was solid in this game. Hawkes, 38 minutes played, 13 points, 5 for 12 shooting, 1 of 4 from the 3, 2 of 4 free throw, 5 rebound, no assist, 2 turnover, 2 steal, and no block, okay? Had some good stuff for 5 for 12, it's just not great. And then we're going to Kiki Rice, 36 minutes, 20 points, 6 for 12 shooting, 0-2 from the 3, 8 of 9 free throw, 4 rebound, 2 assists, 3 turnover, 2 steal, and no block, okay? Kiki Rice foul baited her way throughout this entire game. It's true, yes. If you watch this game in real time, you saw her foul the whole time. And so I didn't like that. I wasn't pleased by that. And she got the calls. She got the calls, but I wasn't pleased by that. And y'all know how I feel about Kiki Rice. Some people overrate her. I don't know. I'm not going to say she's a bad player, but I don't think that she deserves some of the stuff that y'all are giving her, if I'm going to keep it real. And then Sienna Betts gave you 4 points off the bench. She scored once. It was on a putback. That was good. And then 2-2 free throw, 4 rebound, 2 turnover, no steal, no block. And then Dugalich had no points, which I was very surprised by. But it wasn't good. In Michigan, let's talk about Silas Swords. 39 minutes played. She gave you 8 points, 3 for 13 shooting, 2 of 9 from the 3. No free throw, 8 rebound, no assist, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block, okay? She came in clutch with that 3 at the end, so I'll give her that. Did not shoot the basketball well, okay? Part of that's a defense thing that UCLA was playing, but she had multiple open looks that she couldn't cash in on either, okay? So she was very streaky, from what I've seen and what I've heard. Sofa Canic, 23 minutes played, 2 points, 0 for 1 shooting, no 3, 2 of 4 free throw, 5 rebound, no assist, 2 turnover, no steal, and 1 block, okay? And so, yeah, not the best. Going to Mila Holloway, so 35 minutes played, she had 15 points, 5 for 15 shooting, 0 4 for 3, 5 of 6 free throw, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, to only 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block. Yeah, 5 of 15 is just not good. As a team, they just shot the ball really bad. Honestly, Olivia Olson, 36 minutes played, 20 points, 8 for 21 shooting, 3 of 5 from the 3, 1 of 2 free throws. She had 7 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block, okay? So yeah, it's not good. And then Corals Daniels, 28 minutes played. She had 7 points, 3 for 8 shooting, no threes, 1 of 1 free throw, 8 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. Okay, so the bench, you got some good stuff from Del Foss. She gave you 10 points, 5 of 8 shooting. So, she did some good stuff. And then, yeah, we go into the scoring by quarter in this one. Okay, so in the first quarter, 13-17, second quarter, 20-13, third quarter, 21-15, and fourth quarter, 15-21. Okay. Ultimately, UCLA wins this one. It's going to be 69-66. And so, leaders for points, rebounds, and assists: Kiki Rice, 20 points, Lauren Betts, 16 rebound, and Lauren Betts with 5 assists to 3 turnovers. We look at Michigan: Olivia Olson, 20 points, Silas Swords with 8 rebounds, and Mia Holloway with 6 assists to 1 turnover. Okay. From the field, UCLA was 27 for 58, 47%, 3 of 13 from the 3, 23%, 12 of 15 from the free throw line, 80%, 41 total rebound. You had 9 offensive rebound and 32 defensive rebound, 13 assists, 5 steal, 3 block, 13 total turnover, 8 points off of turnovers. No fast break points in this one, okay? And so 46 points in the paint, 17 fouls committed, and you had no tech. Large C was 13, and percent led was 68, okay? You look at Michigan, 26 for 71 from the field, 37% Lord, 5 of 21 from 3, 24%, 9 of 13 free throw, and then they had 69% from the free throw line, 38 rebound, 14 offensive, 24 defensive, 10 assists, 7 steal, 3 block, 9 total turnovers in this one, 8 points off a turnover, 7 fast break points, 32 points in the paint, 20 foul, no tech. Largely was 6, and percent led was going to be 26, okay? And so, overall takeaways on this one, it was pretty close. I believe there was a point in the second half where UCLA kind of started to run away with it, if I remember correctly. And then it was the fourth quarter, sorry the light is flickering, where Michigan was kind of able to come back and respond because UCLA really made some bad mistakes. But it wasn't enough. Silas Swords had the opportunity to hit a 3 to tie it, and then she missed it. They also missed some critical free throws in this one. But I really liked what Michigan's defense was doing on Lauren Betts in the first half mainly, collapsing in on her every time she got the ball, making her have to take some difficult shots. They turned her over a little bit. There was one where someone came from behind and turned her over. So I thought that was good. Second half, I don't think that their defense was as good as the first half, and I think that UCLA stepped up their defense, okay? And they had multiple opportunities to win this game, multiple times whenever they were cutting it close. They kept cutting it down to 9, and then UCLA would respond, and then they would cut it down to 9, to 9, to 9. Like I said, the mistakes and all that other stuff UCLA had, it looked like they might have had an opportunity. They couldn't do it. So that's something there, but they had opportunities. I think that they shot terribly when they had open looks, and they just took some bad shots, and they missed some easy stuff that they definitely should have gotten. Their guard play was abysmal as well, like I said, and I don't want to crown UCLA because I feel like when it matters, their guards are going to choke. And then when Lauren Betts gets taken out of the game, then Corey Close acts like this is something that's never happened before, okay? So they're a good team, obviously. I am just not going to say oh, this is a championship or bust kind of roster, because all she did was add on Neepkins and Charlize Ledger-Walker, which I think they have been positive additions, don't get me wrong. But I just feel like in the big moments, the guard play is not going to come through, and Corey Close is just going to come to bite. So I think it's just the same thing that I have with UCLA and my problems. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. And so it's kind of concerning that they had a big lead and then they couldn't put it away, and then they let Michigan stay in the game for too long. I think Corey Close is trying to do something more balanced this year because she realizes last year was too much on Lauren. There was just too much. And so she's trying to have a more balanced one where everybody eats, and we'll see what happens in the tournament. But like I said, I don't trust them. I didn't care for the officiating in this game, like I already said, and Lauren with the multiple offensive fouls, and they didn't call them all evenly for both sides, because there was a couple times when Lauren got hacked in the paint, they didn't call it either. And so yeah, I didn't care for that, but it is what it is. So now we're gonna move on to the next game. I got so many games I'll be covering, y'all, but Ohio State takes on Oregon. So ultimate score was going to be 80-64. So let's talk about Ohio State first. Lemuela had a really good game. 31 minutes played, 23 points, 10 of 12 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throw, 9 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnover, no steal, and 2 blocks, okay? I thought she played well. Every single time I watch Ohio State, she's doing something. She's a stretch big who can score at all 3 levels, and she can defend too. So she's a good player. She doesn't run like there's bricks on her feet, so I like her game from what I'm seeing at Ohio State, okay? Jelani Cambridge gave you 38 minutes played, 19 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 9 of 9 free throws, 6 rebound, 8 assists, 4 turnover, Lord, 2 steal and 1 block. So I hate the turnover, and she shot better than I thought, okay, because I swear I saw her bricking, but she was able to get some good stuff, you know, off steals and in transition and stuff. So yeah, I think that's below her average, though, no shade. But she did get 1,000 career points, I believe. Ava Watson, 36 minutes, 10 points, 4 of 11, Lord, 0-4 from the 3, 2 free throw, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnover, 4 steal, and no block. Has some good stuff, but 4 of 11 is not going to cut it, you know? We go on to Chance Gray, 39 minutes played, 8 points, and 3 for 9 shooting. So not fantastic. She was 2 of 5 from the 3. No free throws in this one, 5 rebound, 3 assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block, okay? So she had some nice stuff, you know. I believe it was like some threes that she was wide open for, so she had some good moments, but that's my take there. And then we go to Kennedy Cambridge, 35 minutes played. She had 20 points, 6 for 10 shooting, 5 of 7 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 7 rebound, 2 assists, 3 turnover, 8 steals is insane. Okay, I want to give her credit for that. And she had no blocks. So I thought this was probably the best game that I've seen her play. Usually the games I've played, she hasn't shot the basketball great. And so being wide open for threes multiple times, being able to cash in on that, whether that's half court, whether that's transition, I thought she did a good job of that. And she really was impactful on the defensive end. So just a really great two-way game from her. The bench, you literally got nothing from the bench, like 0 points. So there's nothing to talk about. And then we go on to Oregon, okay? So we got number 35, no AC fun, but 8 points, 2 for 7 shooting, no threes, 4 6 free throw, 8 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. We go on to Jacobs, 29 minutes played, 13 points, 5 for 10 shooting, 3 of 8 from the 3, no free throws, 5 rebound, I believe, no assists, 4 turnover, 3 steal, and no block. So she had a good game. Okay, I'll give her a credit. We go on to, I believe, Fiso, the point guard, I believe, 31 minutes played, 5 points, 2 of 8, Lord, 1 or 2 from the 3, no free throw, 3 rebound, 8 assists, but 7 turnovers. It just, I hate a turnover. Oh my, I know I get repetitive, but I just hate turnovers. 1 steal and no block. So, didn't she get in foul trouble in this game too? I swear. We got Ari Long, 32 minutes played, 16 points, 5 for 13 shooting, 4 of 11 from 3, 2 of 2 free throw, 3 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. And so, not great. And then we got Sophia Bell, 34 minutes, 9 points, 3 of 9 shooting, 3 of 8 from the 3, no free throw, 4 rebound, 3 assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. And then we look at the bench. You only really got something out of Sarah with 13 points. Okay, so that's everything there. Scoring by quarter, first quarter 22-18, second quarter 12-7, third quarter 22-19, and then the fourth quarter is going to be 24-20. Ultimately, Ohio State wins 80-64. Okay, so that's that scoring for you, okay? And then we're taking a look at leaders for points, rebounds, and assists. So Lemuela with 23 points, Lemuela with 9 rebounds, and Jelani Cambridge with 8 assists to 4 turnovers. And then Oregon, Long with 16 points, number 35, 8 rebounds for Oregon, and then Fiso with 8 assists to 7 turnover. Good God. And so from the field, Ohio State 28 for 54, 52%, which is good. 7 to 20 from the 3, 35%. 17 to 19 from the free throw line, which is going to be 89%. 35 total rebounds, 6 offensive, 29 defensive. 21 assists, 14 steal, 3 blocks, 20 total turnovers, which is too many. Both teams turned it over a lot. But you had 17 points off of turnovers, 28 fast breaker transition points, 34 points in the paint. 18 foul, no tech, largely was going to be 21, and percent led was 96. And then we go on to Oregon, 22 for 60 from the field, 37%, 11 of 32 from 3, 34%. 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 75%, and 32 total rebounds, 11 offensive, 21 defensive, 17 assists, 10 steal, no block, okay. And then you got 23 total turnovers, which is too many, 16 points off of turnovers, 10 fast breaker transition points, 18 points in the paint, 16 foul, no tech, largely was 1, and percent led was 3. Overall takeaways on this one, a very physical game, multiple fouls that weren't called. I swear I saw some offensive fouls from Ohio State that wasn't called, but it was a physical game, so the rest were kind of letting them play. Like I said, there has to be a medium with the officiating and all that other stuff. You know, I really do do believe that, okay? Too many turnovers for both teams. I wasn't pleased by that. And the second quarter for this game was awful, okay? Ohio State with only 12 points and then Oregon with 7. So it was just them trading bricks. I thought both teams did have some good defensive moments where they were able to turn over the other team, but then we turning it back over or we're taking some dumb shots too. And I believe it was like the back half of the second quarter or into the third, whenever Ohio State was able to take over, they just made more shots. They made more shots. They came up defensively when they absolutely had to, okay? Killed them in transition when we're looking at 28 to 10 points as well. But yeah, that's kind of some of my takeaways on this game, and that's my game of the week. That's my game of the week. That's my bonus. Now on to some quick Unrivaled stuff. So Angel Reese has made her return, okay? She's back. She's coming back to Rose. So, somebody tried to tell me this on live.
Okay, so basically it was like, there's been rumors about this, right? Because Angel's saying that she misses it and stuff, her visiting, and so we saw little glimpses of it. There was one Kalia posted, and then she was basically telling Angel she needs to get back to the rose, and then her announcing her shoes as well, like the rose color. So there was little hints, and like I said, someone tried to tell me, but it's just, I was not about to get my hopes up. Like, I was not about to get my hopes up to be disappointed. If it happened, it would have been great, but I just saw it as it is what it is mentality, because so many times we get ourselves hyped up for things and it just doesn't come to fruition. So that's kind of the lens that I was seeing it through. But yes.
But to have Angel back, it's just the world is healing again. I told y'all I missed Angel bad in Unrivaled, okay? Y'all know I'm a huge Angel fan. And so for Angel to make her return, just extremely pleased. And people talking about, oh, it's not fair this, it's not fair that. Apparently, Azare said she wasn't necessarily happy with like the minutes she was getting and like her role or whatever. And so it kind of works out with that. So I'm just extremely happy that Angel's coming back to play her game. I really missed watching Angel play. So really excited for that. Okay, so that's huge. Okay, and I will not miss a Rose game. And then we have some trades I want to talk about. And so for Breeze, we're going to be receiving Courtney Williams. My takeaways on that is that I'm not excited about it. And why? Because Courtney Williams is not a real point guard. It's a lot of similar things that I'm saying about a KK Arnold, for example. The core vision isn't good enough. And I've seen Courtney Williams multiple times pass up a great look so she can take a contested mid-range jump shot. And just bad shot selection in general. And she tries to play hero ball. And it's just like, it's not good. It's not good. So I'm not looking forward to this. She said she's excited to play with Paige and for Paige to play off the basketball. And my entire thing is playing Paige off the basketball doesn't work the way that some people think that it does. And why is because the only way to stop Paige from getting double teams is to be more of threats so she doesn't get double teamed in these games. We saw them play her off the basketball in Dallas, and look what happened. They still double teamed her anyways, okay? So I think that that's something there. Right? And so I'm just not foreseeing this being good because Courtney is going to pass up Paige multiple times when she's open and make bad decisions if they do play together. I thought she was going to be more of a spark off the bench for the second unit, okay, and take some of Kate Martin's minutes. That's what I foresaw. If she plays with Paige, I already know I'm going to be so irritated. I thought I was free from Courtney Williams basketball until I went back to WNBA because Cheryl will probably re-sign her, which is dumb. But now I have to suffer with this and for my team. So I'm not looking forward to it. Like, I don't know. Like the Courtney Williams shooters, like y'all, I don't know. I don't know what people see in Courtney. Like, she's just a shooting guard that was turned into a point guard, like somebody said. Courtney Williams does not move me, okay? And I have my vendettas with the 0-11 against Connecticut Sun, with the Commissioner's Cup 4-for-14 and 6 turnovers and all the other stuff. You may say I'm holding some bad performances against her, but when you watch how Courtney Williams plays consistently, incredibly frustrating. And the street said she didn't even play well in Unrivaled this year either, so I'm not looking forward to it, okay?
I forgot to say this, but like I kind of alluded to, Courtney can score the basketball. It's just like, I don't like the hero ball, kind of like I stated earlier, so it'll help with scoring. I don't know about how much, but we'll see. I already said my things with the facilitation. And her defense is just not that good either, so our defense already wasn't great as a team. And so, yeah, so like I said, I'm not looking forward to this acquisition and everything, but, that's just my opinion.
Finals going to receive Sanaya Rivers from Hive. She's really a game changer defensively, so wishing her the best in that situation, okay? And then Hive is going to receive Azare from Rose, so wishing Azare the best with that situation, okay? Now I want to get into my Unrivaled 1v1 thoughts. Okay, so Natasha Cloud going up against Chelsea Gray. And so this was a good one. They both hit some tough shots for sure. Natasha Cloud missed a free throw, which was key in this, okay? And then also you have the fact that she was just taking some dumb threes at the end when she could have stealed it. So some bad shot selection. Chelsea Gray just did enough to ultimately win. Got a couple stops. we have Stewie taking on Lee Yaroo. And so overall takeaways, Lee did some good stuff. She put up 6 points against Stewie, so I'm going to give her kudos for that. And Stewie was just too much, though. She can score at all 3 levels. She can defend. I knew Stewie was going to take this one, so that was cash. And then we go on to Marina going up against Sonia, okay? I had Marina winning this one, but Sonia had some tough shots. She had one where she kind of like got to the rim, and that was an extremely tough shot. And I believe there was a point where Sonia was down 10-5, okay? Marina couldn't make enough shots to put it away. Sonia came back, and shout out to Sonia, because she really did her thing, okay? And then we have Kelsey Mitchell taking on Rachel Banham. So I knew that Kelsey Mitchell was going to take this. I believe she won 11-3, 12-3, and she's just a bucket, and she's going to get them at all costs. So I already knew what was going to happen, so I'm not surprised by the outcome of this game. And then we go on to Arike taking on Brittany Sykes, okay? And so I had a feeling Arike was going to win this one. I wanted Arike to win this one because I wanted to see her take on Paige, okay? So I'm excited for that tonight when I'm recording this and everything. And so I thought Brittany Sykes would have put more of a fight, honestly, you know, and she's supposed to be a good defender. She only got 2 or 4 points up on Arike. All Arike did was just drive the whole time, and then Brittany couldn't stop it. She couldn't stop it, okay? Arike did her thing. She likes to play ISO. We know that watching her in Dallas, unfortunately, so I'm not surprised by the outcome, and yeah. And then we go on to Aaliyah Edwards taking on Dominique Malunga. So my takeaways on this one for you is the fact that Dom got away with 2 offensive fouls, okay? And so that was BS, and that made the score closer than it should have been. You know, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. But, you know, she hit some tough shots on her for sure. She hit like 3 fadeaways, okay? So I'll give her credit for that. Aaliyah Edwards came back, and the bag is just so deep for her in 1v1, so she did what she had to do. And so, yeah, that was a close one. And then we go on to Ryan Howard taking on Ray Burrell, okay? And so Ryan, I expected her to win this one, and she did not. She had a 7-0 lead, and she blew it, okay? And Ray Burrell had that grit, and got it done. And I'm appreciative of her getting it done because I was really stressed about if I was going to be able to catch the Paige 1v1, okay, because I was trying to watch the UConn game like I talked about earlier, and the timeout was perfect, and it was just long enough to where I didn't have anything with that, but that aged me like 10 years. So shout out to Ray Burrell for that, and for coming back in the dub. And then we have Paige Beckers taking on Kate Martin, okay? I know Paige won 12-5 in this one. And so Paige got up 8-0 on Kate in the beginning, and just the floater and just getting to the rim, okay? And she said, I said I was going to take all jump shots, but she maybe took only 1 or 2 in this whole thing, right? And so then Kate Martin went on a 5-0 run, and Paige was like, timeout. And she said that she used a timeout then because I believe she was like tired, and also like Kate was getting momentum with that, so that was smart. And then Paige put it away 12-5, okay? And I kind of agree with people. Some people are doing too much on Paige being tired. Everybody in these interviews afterwards was pretty much gas, okay? But Paige, with the deep bag that she has, I knew that was cash, okay? And then we go to Dearica Hamby versus Shakira Austin. And so this was a close one, very, very physical. They were trading bricks for the longest, okay? Ultimately, Shakira Austin wins this one. And so the reason why I think Hamby lost is because Hamby had the lead, but she took too many threes. Instead of getting in the paint, you have to do what got you there. So she took too many threes and bad shots, and Shakira was able to get a couple stops, and she did her thing. So it's kind of similar to the Natasha Cloud and Chelsea Gray one. And then we have Zaza taking on Jackie Young. Zaza, you know, got 2 blocks on Jackie Young. She hit some tough shots, but Jackie did her thing. She got in the roof. She hit 2 threes back to back, and I knew Jackie was going to be Jackie, so that was cash. And then we have Courtney Williams taking on Veronica Burton, okay? And so Veronica Burton beat her so bad. 11-0, y'all. 11-0. I was on live, and I could not believe it. I could not believe it, y'all. Because what do you mean it was 11-0, bro? She just drove a lot, hit some tough shots on Courtney, right? Courtney did not even get a possession. She literally scored on pretty much every possession, Veronica Burton, that is, and just did her thing. And she hit that 3 at the end. It was cash. It was cash. The whole round lasted 1 minute and 23 seconds, y'all. Bro, it was insane. Shout out to Veronica Burton for doing her big one. That was for me. That was for me. So thank you, Veronica Burton. But yeah, I thought Courtney was going to win and didn't. So my bracket's been cooked. You know, there was a couple of upsets, at least for me. And so got to give credit to them for sure. But, you know, that's some of my takeaways on round 1. Okay, I'm recording this earlier because Saturday we literally have on our hands the UConn game. And then we have the Unrivaled semifinals and the finals. And then we are also going to have, what is it called? The South Carolina and LSU game. So it's those 3 things going on, right? Okay. And so usually I film my podcast on Saturday, but I just knew it was going to be too overwhelming for me. And so I figured I would record it today. I kind of wanted to record like this because last week I had to slick back because it was more convenient, but missing the natural hair. And I do have my page, what is it called, hoodie on, but that's why the episode should hopefully be out on Saturday. Okay. But I say this to say, who do I think is going to take these rounds? So we have Paige going up against Enrique. I think Paige is going to win this one, okay? With a guard like Paige, she has a first step that's just so explosive. She has a bag that is so deep. She has patience. She can score at all 3 levels, okay? And so that's why I think she takes Enrique. Enrique gets impatient. She takes bad shots. She makes dumb decisions. I can foresee Paige getting out to a lead on Enrique and then Enrique fouling her like she did to Aaliyah Edwards because she was down and she was mad she wasn't winning. So, yeah, I think Paige is definitely going to take this one, and I'm really excited about it. And then we have Jackie Young versus Chelsea Gray. I think Jackie Young's going to take it. I think she has a little bit more, but I could see it going, like if it went the other way, I wouldn't be surprised. And then we have Kelsey Mitchell going up against Veronica Burton. I think Kelsey Mitchell is just a better scorer of the basketball than Veronica Burton. I want to give her respect for that first round because, like I said, I didn't expect it. Okay? So I will definitely say those things. But ultimately, I think Kelsey Mitchell is just going to be a little bit too much for Veronica Burton. But we shall see, okay? And then we have Kelsey Plum taking on Atisha Heidemann. Kelsey Plum, that's cash. That's cash, okay? And then we have Alicia Gray with Sanaya Rivers. I think Alicia Gray can score the basketball better. Sanaya's a good defender. So we'll see how that comes into play. Alicia Gray's been in a bad stretch right now, so we do have to keep a couple things in mind. But that's how I'm seeing it, okay? And then we have Sonia taking on Ray Burrell. I like Sonia in the matchup. Okay? And then we have Stewie taking on AB. This is going to be a physical one. Y'all know AB with those elbows that come back to bite, as I always say, okay? But I think Stewie, like I said, 3-level scorer, okay? And great defender, too. She has a bag. I'm liking Stewie in the matchup, okay? We'll see, but I like Stewie in this one. And then we have Shakira taking on Aaliyah Edwards. I like Aaliyah Edwards. Like I said, that 1v1 bag be so deep. So that is my prediction. And so, yeah. Also put up some photos that were kind of my mood board for this episode and everything. But, yeah. Really enjoyed the first round, excited about the second round and everything. I think that's going to be it for this episode, okay? I'm really, really excited for the next episode because that's when I'm going to be able to talk about South Carolina taking on LSU, the Unrivaled championship and everything too. So there's going to be so much with that I'm really excited for. So I think that's probably going to be one of my favorite episodes that I do and everything. I did want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the podcast so far. I believe we have 99 total downloads on like Apple and Spotify and all that other stuff. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen to my podcast in multiple ways, or if you watch the video version, I appreciate y'all. This has been a really great endeavor for me. I also forgot to say Happy Black History Month to you guys, okay? I don't know why I forgot to say it, but yeah, I think I did a lot of good stuff in the first month of the year. I had my frustration, sure, with my account situation on TikTok, which I've appealed again, and they're supposed to get a specialized agent to talk to me and everything like that, and I had my podcast page and posting on more. But it's just important to keep my head down, keep working, keep making stuff for you guys, and so I think, this podcast launch has been really great for me. I think I've put out a lot of good stuff this year, and there's so much more to go. This year, so I'm just extremely appreciative for you guys supporting me in whatever fashion, whether you watch the podcast every week or you check out my TikTok stuff or wherever I post. I got a lot of stuff that I'm trying to put out right now, and I just really enjoy doing this, really enjoy making the podcast every single week. Editing it is hell, but I really enjoy being here and talking about the game of women's basketball with y'all. And so yeah, just really excited to keep doing this podcast, to keep finding new ways to stretch my creativity for you guys and put out more stuff and everything. But thank you guys so much for being here for this episode. I forgot to say this really quick, but Fia and AZ's podcast absolutely ate. That locker room story was funny. AZ taking Paige over Prime, Tina Charles was funny. That was a really good episode. But yeah, see you guys next week though. Hashtag biracial FC.
I completely forgot to say this. Sometimes I just be yapping, but if you enjoyed this video, give it a like on YouTube if you're watching it. That way you can subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. All of my reviews, all my TikTok lives are here. And then if you hit the bell, you get notified when I post. You not miss when a brand new video comes out. All of my socials, including my TikTok accounts, if you guys want to follow me, are in the description. I go live on there all the time, so you guys can check that out on my post there. And if you're listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please rate the podcast. Let me know what you guys think. You guys can leave a comment down below this video. Let me know what you guys think of the matchups and all that stuff. But I will see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week.